looks like Noda is going to be your winner of this Portuguese Grand Prix. Is your champion. JJ splits the middle, gets past both drivers. Ladies and gentlemen, it is going to be round 7 of 11 here in Season 7, or Season 8, wow, I can't even get the intro through, here at FRL, and welcome everybody to this wonderful round 7 here at Suzuka. The 4th time FRL has visited Suzuka, and of course the last time FRL will visit Suzuka as FRL. 47 times this race has been ran in real life. Michael Schumacher has 6 wins around the wonderful Japanese circuit, 5 kilometers roughly, 3.6 miles, 5.8 kilometers. Lots of fun times to be had here, and if you're not familiar with it, you should know it's a fun time. Traditionally, Suzuka is known for rain, and qualifying is going to be no less. And traditionally, FRL is known for me and for Syntex. So, Syntex, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome here to round 7. How are you doing?
Hello, everyone, and nice to be here with you, Bradley, as always, in every single Sunday. Yeah, I'm doing so fine, especially that first part of the F1 real one we had today in the Barcelona, Catalonia, and right now we have on the Japan Suzuka. Yeah, as you mentioned, raining in the qualification is something new for us. No, especially that I heard that because I was speaking today with Tazo, and he told me, it will be pretty interesting if there will be some rain. So, as you wish, Tazo, here we go, here's your rain. And yeah, I believe qualifications in the Suzuka in raining conditions might be very difficult, to be honest, because this track is really difficult even if it's dry. So yeah.
Yeah, you're not wrong there. This track, for me personally, is probably my weakest track on the F1 calendar. It's a unique track, unique shape, very just, it's different compared to what I think a lot of us are used to in terms of what we expect from an F1 track. Of course, this track is known for so many things, both good and bad, and a rainy Suzuka just kind of fits for what this track is thought of and known for. 18 turns through, and there is of course a weird crossover section around turns 9 and 10, and then through turns 15 in the second and third sector, where the track kind of goes under itself and goes back over itself, which makes it's a clockwise track, but there's the counterclockwise half. It's a weird sort of setup, but it's a lot of fun to kind of run and be on. And Syntex, I know you've got a lot of good experience here at this track. And speaking of probably not good experiences, Bimolino Gaucho is going to be our first driver that is going to be out of qualifying here. Already not even setting in a lap, riding with Marios there as Marios goes through turns 1 and 2 and runs a bit wide there. So that is going to cost him a lot of time on his first push lap. But I think this is going to be a tricky qualifying for the drivers, and if the rain stays steady throughout, it's going to be hard.
Uh, just to be sure, for every single viewer, we might have experienced today some technical difficulties connected with the Discord because they have some several server problems, issues, etc. So just to be sure, it's not our fault. Coming back to the qualification in Suzuka, and you told that I have some good memories with this track. No, I don't, because I remember that I crashed here maybe twice, maybe 3 times. I don't know. Yeah, this track in this game and specifically in the previous one is very tricky. You are losing in the random moments a grip, so that's make you even harder to survive on this track, to be honest. And yeah, especially if you have a pace, it's so hard to hold that pace on this track, to be honest, because there is a few corners that you can lose grip, you can, I don't know, span on the apex. There's a lot of different possibilities. And going back to Marius, he invalidated his lap, so he need to make one more lap.
Absolutely. Frantic starting us out with a 139.337. Pretty decent time there. Buchik comes in with a 39.2. So we're going to see times kind of run through. Maverick is going to be next driver across the line. He's at a 140.3. Seems like he had a little bit of trouble there with grip. We're checking in with Tazo as Tazo runs through Spoon Curve here. And is running around the backstretch towards 130R. Grax at 138.6, so even faster still. Puhash 141.4, and this track is kind of unique. You can learn it by corner numbers or you can learn it by corner names. Of course, there is, the famous Dunlop curve, the S curve, the Spoon curve, 130R, the Casio triangle, as it's known there, turn 16, 17, 18. At the end of the track. There's a lot of different things this track is known for. Quarter names are kind of unique for it, but I think it's a fun way to also kind of know, as we have a Williams who is off the track there. Who is that there that is off the track? I believe that was Frantic who ran off, but I'm not sure.
Might be.
Let's see, but it looks like he's back going with no issues. Syntax, let's take a couple seconds here and kind of talk about where the points are sitting at here as we go here into round 7 out of 11.
Yeah.
Ignis currently leading the points tally, 97 points. Grax at P2 with 75, and Tazo P3 with 61 points. Jack's in 4th place with 60 points. Of course, no Jack again this weekend, but that Ignis and Graxent battle is very, very competitive. Graxent, of course, won here in Season 4. Ignis does not have a win on this track here in FRL. Those two, who, just looking at qualifying so far, Ignis hasn't qualified yet. I think Ignis is also serving a quali ban potentially.
Yes,
or no, he's
yes.
not.
Or not?
No, okay.
Nah.
It's Mumamek that's going back of the grid.
Okay.
That's who I was thinking of. But between Ignis and Graxent's got some good traction going for him. For kind of moving forward, he's been very consistent, and so is Ignis. Ignis has just seemed to finish a little bit further forward than Graxent has. So, with those two drivers, who do you think is going to come out on top today?
It's pretty difficult. I would say just to wait until the Ignis will finish, and firstly when he will come out from the pit lane, because since the beginning he's sitting there. June Meister just jumped into the P3 right now. But I believe, and I will agree with you, that that fight is really interesting in this season. And it's a long time that we didn't have such a fight between non-Polish drivers about the championship. So that's also make me really exciting. But after the last week on Monaco, and after the winner, of course, is Tazo, he's also joining back for another title. He, of course, losing like 14 points to Graxent, but still 14 points on the track is doable. But I believe Ignas and Graxent will also will not give a rest to the others, and will definitely fight for that points. That is very important, because slowly, but we are coming to the end of the season, right? So every single point will be really, really important right now. And Draxon just made, as a first driver, time lower than 1 minute 38. Last, last more thing. Do you also see some sun rays between the clouds somewhere on the part of the tracks?
Yeah, I'm especially noticing it there through turns 1 and 2. As we see Baran, who's currently sitting provisional pole, passing up Graxit by just about a tenth of a second. As he comes through turns 1 and 2, you can start to see the sun poke through. Times are coming down, which is going to be a big indicator. So I think Ignis is actually just kind of sitting back and trying to not risk his car. I'm waiting to see which driver will come out on intermediate tires first, or on soft tires first, or a dry compound, because 8.5 minutes roughly left to go here in qualifying. And it really is just a matter at this point of, as every driver comes across, we're seeing times continue to come down. And that to me is indicating that we're probably going to get maybe one push lap on dry tires right at the very end. Especially because if we ride on board with like Buchik, you could see a little bit of sun popping out again in that first sector. And the rain does look like it's starting to lighten up, but I don't know if it's going to lighten up enough for dry tire running, but I would really like it to, because I think it'll mix things up a lot.
As far as I see, in this race, Debe will have a 5 place grid penalty. Rolowski, if he will join, will also have a 3 place grid penalty. Wasserschwein, 10 place grid penalty. Rolo with another 3 place grid penalty. Muminek back of the grid, as you mentioned. Five, okay. Because I'm looking, was there any action between Ignas and other drivers? But I cannot see anything, so I don't believe that he have some part of the penalties, and I'm just figuring out why he decided to go so late for the hot lap. We will see. Right now he's on the out lap, so I believe both of Mercedes will try to do the best job as they can. Of course, the track is, as I mentioned a few times already, really difficult, and we can clearly see that Ignas struggling a little bit in the sector 2.
Yeah, watching, we've lost Mumamek and Bimolino Gaucho are the two drivers we lost. Bimolino, I believe, did wreck out, and Mumamek, I think, just retired knowing that he has to take that back of the grid penalty here on this race. So putting in a lap and then just deciding it wasn't worth it. As we run here through the hairpin, turn 10 and 11, watching Ignis on his out lap here, it is going to be interesting to see how he does. You mentioned he does look a little wobbly there. I think he may be a little uncomfortable with the track conditions, which is completely valid and understandable. And kind of watching other drivers as they go through. We've got Maku, who is just a little bit behind Ignis, who's on a push lap. Juro now joining into the session here. And I believe we may see a little bit of on-track action from Juro. I can't remember if he has any penalties or not from what we just said, because there's a lot of drivers serving penalties through. Maku is trying to push and gain some time. He's up 3/10 through the middle sector, and as he runs down towards 130R and then towards Casio, I think Maku may improve a little bit. I don't know if it's going to be good enough for provisional pole, as all of our top three are currently out doing another lap on intermediates. So Maku does go provisional pole, 137.665, but you've got John Meister Baran and Graxon out on out laps. And of course, Ignis, the current points leader, is on a push lap here. We're going to ride on board with him here as he goes through the S curves down towards the Dunlop curve and kind of just see what he puts together and how comfortable he feels on this track. And he's purple first sector syntax, which is probably going to be a very good way to start out his lap.
Yeah, definitely, but we still need to wait. Making a mistake, it's like human thing, so everyone could possibly make that one, but not in the current situation that as Ignas have in front of himself. Last FRL championship title. This might be something, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That would be would be wild to see. Syntax, we're not that far from the end of the season when you think about it. Only another few races to go. Ignis Purple Middle Sector. So really, as we sit, this is the make or break point. Any sort of big errors now could cost drivers championships and could
Hmm.
cost them through the season. This is really the point where either get it together or don't. Ignis Purple through first and middle sector only good enough for P5 at the moment, which is kind of surprising to me, honestly.
Yeah, I can fully agree with that. Nevertheless, Bucek P8, Myros P7, Debe P9, Franek P10, Tazo P11, Radosław P12, Wasser and Vixi P13 and P14, and Juro currently P16, waiting for his first hot lap, and we will see what time he will earn. Um, I'm really excited about this race, but taking into consideration, what do you think about the weather? It will be raining, or maybe in the main race we will see a dry weather, dry conditions, maybe like this.
I'm kind of okay with it either way. If it rains a little bit in the race, I am personally okay with that, as it does tend to produce more action, a little bit more chaos. If it doesn't rain and it's dry, I think we're going to see a lot of drivers show pace, and then
Hmm.
that may mix up the grid a little bit for us as we go through.
Yeah,
So I'm pretty okay with
yeah.
it either way, personally. But I would say expect a little bit of rain because that's been pretty much the trend this season is a little bit of
Mhm.
rain.
Yeah, I wanted to mention that we have possible two scenarios. Like the first one, if there will be raining, mostly every single driver will be more focused and trying to avoid any dangerous situation, because trying to catch up the rest of the grid on this condition, weather condition, might be a really difficult. Nevertheless, if we will have like sunny weather, I believe, as you mentioned, we'll see a true potential of the drivers about the pace and maybe more of the action on the track. But we will see. I don't know why, but today I feel like this qualification session don't want to end, and it takes like 30 minutes already. But it's as always 18 minutes, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Still 2 minutes left to go in qualifying, and things have just. I don't know, this qualifying session, I guess there hasn't been a bunch of action. Everybody's been pushing, but they've been steady. Nobody's taking any sort of unnecessary risk to go through. Debe with a big snap there out of turn two. Probably going to compromise his final push lap, unfortunately. But nobody's really done anything too risky, too chaotic on their laps. No big wrecks have happened. I haven't seen any sort of like drivers blocking drivers or anything, really bad like that happen. It's been a lot of just drivers trying to log multiple laps to continue to improve their times and just find when the track is going to be at its best.
Yeah. We'll see. 1 minute until the end of the qualification session. Right now, Graxend on the P1, Ignas, John Meister P2, P3, Baran P4, Maku P5. That's how top 5 looks right now. And as the whole season, we can clearly see this is the fight between Mercedes and Ferrari. So, going back to the F1 standings as we have right now, Mercedes is currently leading 145 points, and the second one is Ferrari 117 points. So, Ferrari also would like to, I believe, come back and fight for constructor championship also. And it will be a really good moment to make solid points. But on the P3 in the constructor championship, we have Alpine with 97 points, so 20 points less than a Ferrari. I believe we will see still some action because, as we mentioned before, there is still a moment to earn something. But I need to check a calendar. If you will give me a 1 second. Right now we on the Suzuka, and I would love to see a proper way to work the Discord today, because I have some really big issues and my channels are not loading. So sorry, I don't see a calendar and I don't know how many races we have. But John Meister with 1 minute 37.9 with an amazing time in raining conditions. He is trying to show us that Mercedes really wants to win, or both of them stand on the podium.
Yeah, Mercedes have brought their A game today. John Meister P1 so far, Graxent P2. Ignis is invalidated his lap. He'll only be able to lock in third place at best. Maku's invalidated at P5. Puhash is in P6, but is coming around, and he's invalidated as well going through the Casio triangle. So Puhash will not be able to improve. Frantic with a 138.000. Logging himself P7. Buchik is in 8th place in the pits. Tazo will be coming across the line here momentarily through the Casio triangle. Marios is able to knock out Debe for P10. Reslov Kepa locks in P12. And the last driver we're waiting on right now is going to be Tazo. Tazo comes across the line, and Tazo puts in a 138.295, only good enough for P9. So it's going to be front two rows, Mercedes, Ferrari, Mercedes, Ferrari. And that will be a spicy run off the line. And frankly, I'm excited.
Oh, yeah. Luckily, the qualification session is over. And as always, we need to prepare another lobby. So there's nothing less to add. And we'll be right back in a moment.
All right, Syntax. And as we come back here and we get ready for the race to go, drivers have about 60 seconds probably to get everything going and ready as it says we're waiting on players. It is going to be a nice sunny day here in Suzuka, which I think you and me can both agree is probably a good thing, so we don't have to worry so much about drivers wiping out. But then again, it's Japan, so I'm sure we're going to see at least one or two people spin. It's just a matter of who.
Yeah, but definitely we will see something in the beginning of the race on the turn 1, because it's really difficult corner, to be honest, because of the lines that you have on the ground. It makes they make it wrong because the breaking point is a little bit later than in the game, so it might be problematic, but we will see. This is the FRL, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome everybody.
And as we sit here and it says we start in 0 seconds, cars are all on the grid ready to go, and we are going to see Mercedes Ferrari, who is going to come out on top of this race start, who comes out of turn 1 ahead. 5 red lights, and we are going to be underway very, very quickly here, and you can see already pure chaos in the back. That is Bimolino Gaucho, who hasn't even moved. I already see front end plates going, and side by side go Ignis and Baran through turn 1. Ignis spins, Baran is off as well. So that is a big mix up there. Baran drops back a bit, but Ignis, the big loser, all the way down into 16. John Meister went off as well. Down into P15, Graxit to the lead. Maku P2, Baran P3. Tazo is P4 there, trying to chase down Baran. Can he get a pass done? I don't know who lost their front wing in that mix. I'm trying to tell, and I think it was one of our midfield runners who actually lost a bit of front end plate there. As we go through, Radislav Kepa trying to hold off Wasserschwein as best as he can. Wasserschwein already up into P9 here. P10 is Maverick. P11 is going to be Debe. And as we kind of just watch, I don't see anyone missing a front end plate, but I know someone is. Juro P13. Rolowski is here in P14. Mercedes absolutely losing out. There is John Meister, no front wing at all. Buchik is in P17, and Bimolino Gaucho, who just completely did not hit the start of the race, will be in P18, and there is the Red Bull. The Red Bull is the one that lost part of their front end plate. And as the drivers continue through here and keep running down the track, it still looks like we've got a bit of slipstream going here. Let's get that track map up so we can all see where everyone is on the track and keep track of everything here. How many times can I say the word track? Mumamek is being chased by Maverick. Maverick chased by Juro. Graxit brings us across for the first lap. And the Mercedes Syntax, the big losers of turn 1.
Yep. They are currently on the P16 and P14, and there's now contact between Ignas and Rolowski. But Ignas have definitely more pace on this turn. He needs to brake a little bit because he will park his car into Rolowski, so I fully understand that decision. Right now, Juro is... oh!
Oh,
That wasn't nice, Ignas. But I don't believe that that was... how's it called? Like, you doing something on purpose. And now, Muminik also with the spin.
okay. I said before I didn't think we'd see a lot of cars spinning. I think I should have just not said a word before the race. Several drivers already having big moments early on. Ignis already found his way back up to P10. He's down 8 places. Franek is down 6. John Meister is down 13. Buchik is down 10. Bimlino Gaucho is still down a couple of places from where he started, but sitting P16 at the moment. Big winner so far, the Ferraris, who started P1, P3, and are still sitting P1, P3 from what I can see.
Yeah, and we don't see any heroic maneuvers right now. Everything looks like a little bit come down. Tazo with the fastest lap on this race. Right now 1 minute 33.3, and we have finally DRS enabled Rolowski with the first 5-second time penalty about the speeding into the pit lane. And what is very interesting for me that we've had 2 drivers on the track that decided to start on the soft compound. It was Tazo and Buchek. Because of the Buchek, of course, need to go to the pit lane, he decided to go for the mediums. But right now, Rolowski also decided for the soft compound. And I'm really glad that we finally can see the soft compound, because in this game or in the previous one, we've seen like how much the meta changed for driving, because it was always like medium to hards, hard to mediums, and so on. So basically, no one wants to go for double pit lane, double pit, because it wasn't like you know, useful, right?
Right. Yeah, that is one of the... There's a lot of things that can be said about F122. But that is one of the good things, is that F122 seemed to kind of change the meta for how drivers approached race strategy, and really opened up where you could have options and push and do a lot more, and then still get similar and good results through. Looks like Rolowski leaving the session there. Not sure if that's a disconnect or what happened, because his car's still on the track. Look at this battle between Wasserschwein and Radoslav Kepa. Wasserschwein has the pass done before they even hit the first turn, and Wasserschwein finds his way up into P7 now, and will continue to kind of push his way forward. But yeah, soft tires on Tazo, and starting on soft tires, he wanted that advantage early, and it very much worked, because he's up 5 places from the beginning, and he's within half a second of Baran, so he's going to continue to push and try to chase him down. And I'm sure he's going to have a chance to get to him. He's just got to worry about Marios and Puhash, who are very, very close behind here as well, and trying to chase him down.
Yeah, definitely. And I believe he will like to try to attack Baran on this soft just before he will go to the pit lane for the new power of tires. And I'm really curious about his strategy on this race. Maybe we will see some soft to hards. It's hard to predict, but that will be something new, and I like new things, I like to make some experiments, and Tazo is doing it right now, so I'm really glad about that. And the fight between Radoslav Kepa and Ignas just finished, because Ignas easily overtake Radoslav, and right now he is hungry for more. Of course, he lost a lot in the beginning on this race, but right now he is getting closer to the Wasserschwein on the main straight. We'll see DRS active, and it's easily overtake done by Ignas right now, just before the turn 1.
Absolutely insane to me, the speed that Ignis has in that Mercedes, in that silver arrow, silver bullet, really, you could call it, with how fast he is. Absolutely sends it through, and it's very impressive to watch. Mumamek now picking up a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Mumamek retiring out of the session there in the pit lane, so Mumamek will be our first driver to DNF out. Roloski's back into the session. He can take over his car, but of course, unfortunately, a lot of damage has been done there. From the AI taking over and driving for him. As we kind of watch through, this battle between Maku and Graxent has settled down a bit. Same thing between Baran and Tazo, with things being just 0.6, 0.7 of a second separating them. And they're just kind of relaxing and driving through. I think they know that for them, at least for Maku, that eventually Graxent's tires are going to wear down a bit, and it's going to give Maku an opportunity to try to get the lead done. He doesn't want to take any unnecessary risk, and probably a smart decision from the Haas driver there. Maku, very, very strong driver. Has finished consistently in the middle of the points this season. Of course, hasn't started the last couple of races, but has been pretty consistent when he is on the track. So very, very good to see him up there in P2 at the moment.
Exactly, and it's fully deserved. Right now, I'm watching on Tazo, and I've seen some red light blinking just behind his car, so I believe there's a problem with the battery. Of course, we don't have like some sort of technical issues with the cars, but I believe Tazo used the whole ERS section because he wanted to try to catch out with the Baran, but as I can see, it's still a difficult job to do, because right now he is losing more than 1 second behind the Baran, especially that he have a soft compound and Baran have hards. So this is something new. I'm not sure about the tire condition that Tazo have. Maybe 6, 7, maybe 8 laps is like the whole life cycle for them, but we will see, and it will be definitely a really difficult to drive, or not, or maybe not. Maybe this is a really possible job to do, to make 20 laps on the hards, I believe. So I think I figured out the strategy that Tazo want to use today. We'll see.
Yeah,
Ooh.
that went. Oh, Marios with a bit of contact there with Tazo and spins Tazo out, and then it looks like kind of a chain reaction there. I think Puhash hit Tazo or Marios just a little bit as well. I wish the camera would cut from looking at him to see if we can tell if he's got any front wing damage there. Don't see any front wing damage, so those two got lucky with it. Tazo now straight into the pit lane after that. So I think Tazo was slowing down to come into the pits anyways. And it drops him back a bit. Marios is now down into P8. Looks like he has spun through the first curve, and it's dropped him down into a bit. That's Wasserschwein spinning as well. Couple of drivers getting inspired by Rallycross, at least. Debe now finds himself up to P9 from that. Wasserschwein is in 10th place, and that is not going to be very kind to anyone's tires here. And honestly, that's going to compromise them quite a bit, and they're going to have to slow down a bit, let the tires cool down, and try to get them back in their operating windows.
As far as I know, I remember that Graxent really liked driving on the Japan, and right now we can see that Roloski decided to retire, or maybe he crashed. I believe we have a safety car on the track. On the track, so I believe he crashed, but I don't see where. Probably turn 1, something like this. I'm not sure about that. Nevertheless, this is the first safety car in this race, and I hope this will be the last one.
I'm riding on board with Giro through the first sector, and I don't see anything for where it could have been. Now let's check on the pit lane here, because pit lane's going to be very busy. Graxent's in, Baran's in, Maku's in, Puhash in, Ignis in. Baran onto a brand new set of soft tires, surprisingly enough. Maku onto a brand new set of mediums. Graxent's onto a brand new set of hards. Radoslav Kepa stays out, so Radoslav Kepa will find himself the lead. Graxent P2, Maku P3. Maverick will be in 4th place here. Debe will find his way up into P5 on the 7-lap-old hard compound tires. Baran on soft tires will be in P6. Puhash on brand new hards. Ignis on brand new hards. Marios will be on brand new hards as well. Tazo is on 1 lap old hards because he pit, of course, the lap before the safety car. And then we have Wasserschwein, Franix into the pits, John Meister's into the pits. Buchik is into the pits there in the Red Bull onto a brand new set of hards. And then Juro, who is just now coming around 130R and still has about a quarter of the track to go to get to the pit lane. We'll see if he pits. But other than 3 drivers, everybody opting into the pits for something. Baran on the softs, which I wonder if that was a miscommunication there within the team, because that's a interesting decision unless they know something's coming that I don't.
Yeah, it's really hard to say. Almost every single driver is on the fresh pair of hards. In exception, we have Maku, Baran. I don't know what's happening with Baran, but right now he lost like few places, maybe spun, I don't know, and Bemolino that decided to go for the medium compound. I have no idea what is going on. Ignis just received the 5-second penalty because of the ignoring the yellow flag. Baran somehow overtake 2 drivers in front of the safety car. I don't know that my game is making me stupid or or there's something happening.
I don't know. That makes no sense. I'm very confused.
You've seen that also, right? Right now Tazo is P13 because he just like teleport behind the John Meister. I've seen that. And I believe we have a strong desync right now. Tazo overtake John Meister, and I have no clue what is going on right now.
Yeah, I'm very confused, but we are still behind safety car, so I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm very confused. Maybe admin can give us answers, even though admin is currently running P5. So lap 9 of 27, so we are at the point where if we restarted, it would just be half race distance. But yeah, maybe we'll see. We'll see if admin reported anything. But as it sits right now, yeah, there's some drivers kind of passing each other around. It's weird. Anyways.
Something happened because Myros just given information that sorry for that. I will give you a place back. So I don't know.
I don't know either. That is Debe spun under safety car. Man. David, why would you do that?
This is the commentator curse, you know, because you just told us that our admin is currently on the P5. Yeah, he was there.
Okay, yeah, that's my fault. Okay, so, anyways, Debe dropping down to P15, avoiding any sort of chaos in the front. Safety car is in this lap, which means that Radislav Kepa gets control of the field on 8-lap old hard tires. Radislav Kepa and Maverick are going to have a very, very bad time on this restart, I feel. But we're going to kind of sit back and watch and see as we see if Graxon's able to get his way back in the lead. Syntax, we are back underway here for lap 10 of 27, 17 to go. Look at this. Graxon is already pushing very hard as they come down the main straight. Inside is Radislav Kepa. He backs out of it. And then as we go through turn 1, Graxon brings it out in first place there. Maku's now in P3 trying to chase down Radislav Kepa as well. And Maverick is just trying to hold up Puhash and Baran behind. And I think everybody's surviving from what I can tell. Big side-by-side action here between Maverick, Baran, and Pujols as they go through. Yellow flags out because Wasserschwein is spun there through the S-curves. And now as we go around, it is going to be still Maverick in front of Baran. Baran with a risky dive on the inside. A little bit of a snap there. That's going to introduce Pujols to the inside. Side-by-side they go. Marios and Ignis swapping positions here as we run down into the hairpin now. And as they come through, Baran is going to still be ahead of Pujols, still behind Maverick. Maverick on 9-lap-old hard tires is holding on to it somehow. And then Ignis is able to get ahead of Marios and now try to chase his way back up and try to go for a podium. Wasserschwein still spinning out back in turn 9 and just completely disconnecting from the field now. But as we continue through, it's going to be this battle right here, Baran and Maverick, and now Maku is trying to have a pass on Radoslav Kepa, and they are right front to back. They're side by side going into the Casio triangle, and bit a wheel-to-wheel contact there. They hook, they touch, and as they come through, Maku is going to force his way forward there, and then that is going to force Radoslav Kepa to lose even more positions now down the main straight. As his exit was compromised, Baran still trying to use those soft tires and go through. Syntax, there is so much action so early on here as we run through turn 1. I can't tell where to look as Baran just slots it in front of Maverick finally. So Baran up into P3, Maku forcing his way up into P2, Radoslav Kepa losing out big time there into P5, and now these two on the 10-lap-old hard tires are going to be under a bunch of pressure from every car behind to get around them.
Yeah, and look how much looks like Radoslav is struggling right now because Pujols was literally sitting on his back spoiler, and Maku is fighting right now with the Baran. I don't know where to watch because there's something happening, like big crash. Buciek just land on the wall. Deba is per 13. Ignace is trying to catch out the rest. Bemolino will try now to overtake Franek. Franek is losing time into John Meister. John Meister is losing to the Myros. Myros is trying to catch out the Tazo. Tazo running out behind the Radoslav. Pujols want to get closer to the Maverick. Maverick losing over 1 second behind Maku, but earning some time at the straight. Right now, Maku 0.3 of a second behind Baran and Draxen with a flying mode right now, over 4 seconds with the time gap between him and Baran. But Maku and Baran will also, I believe, need to go for the fresh pair of new tire compounds, right? Because there's no chance that Baran will finish on these softs until the end of this race.
Yeah, there's no way Baran can finish off to do another pit stop. Mercedes having to double stack as both cars had severe front wing damage. Bucic into the pits for wing damage as well. Tazo into the pits for wing damage as well. So very, very surprising to see that with so much damage so early on. Pujols finally working his way past Maverick. Maverick's going to need to pit. Radoslav Kepa is going to need to pit. As you mentioned, Baran is definitely going to need to pit at some point. It's just a matter of when. So several drivers are going to need another pit stop, or maybe they were hoping for a safety car there because it looked like, in terms of what happened back about a lap ago, Ignis getting hooked into the wall there with Bucic and John Meister. I think he got hooked by Marios from what I could tell. It was very, very hard to tell, though, with the camera angle exactly who was at fault for that. That was a really weird wreck, and I don't know how to feel about it. We're lap 12 of 27. We're approaching half distance now, and I really don't know how this race is going to turn out.
Yeah, but I can totally admit that on between the P11, P12, P13, P14 and P15, if we will turn over the whole grid lane, we will fight like for the P1 right now, right?
Oh, absolutely.
But they are fighting for the P11. That is something totally new, and this is a very important information for both of Ferrari drivers, that both of Mercedes are out of the points. So Draxen, if he will went for the win in this race, he will also bring to home points for him as a driver in the driver championship, but also a very important points for Ferrari as a constructor championship, especially that Baran is on the second place right now.
Yeah, that is very, very important for Ferrari to find their way up in constructors, especially with the gap as close as it is in that battle. Currently, they are just sitting 27 points behind, so this finish would be monumental for them. As we watch here, Maku's been putting a lot of pressure on Baran, though, lap after lap. They were side by side for a little bit. And then Maku backed out of it. Baran kept the place, and now we'll continue to watch and kind of see. Buchik has spun again through the S curves there in the first sector. And it looks like he's back underway with no issues, but this track is proving extremely difficult, Syntax, for every single driver here to some degree.
Yeah, and I believe that every single driver have some problems on this track in this race. When I'm watching on the list of the drivers, I don't see anyone. Oh, now right now Mac wanted so badly to attack Baron, but there was a contact and he spun. We have a yellow flag in the sector 1, but right now Maku lost a lot because from the P3 he's currently on the P10. So that was a risky move, but was it like worth? I don't think so. John Meister with the fastest lap on this race, 1 minute 31.8. So on the medium compound, it's hats off. Really, really impressive time.
Absolutely. It's just kind of watching through all of the drivers at the moment. They've all been very consistent, and really, if we get another safety car and the field were to bunch back up, I think we could have just a massive DRS train. A yellow flag, sector 1, that is going to be for Wasserschwein, who is going very, very slow through the S curves there. But he's back going, no big issues. Our front 4 are pretty relaxed. And then Marios in the P5, half a second back from Maverick, and trying to catch up a little bit there. Bimolino Gaucho, Franek, Radislav Kepa, and Debe are all in a very, very close battle. But other than that, most of the drivers are pretty relaxed through. Ignis is going to be trying to get around Buchik very, very soon for P14. Unfortunately, I think Ignis, unless there is another safety car or something happens and a lot of people lose a lot of time, I think Ignis's chances at a podium are pretty much gone here for the race this weekend.
Bemolino now with the 3-second time penalty because of the track limits. He received a third warning, so that cost him extra 3 seconds of the penalty. Nevertheless, it looks like the situation on the track might be also a very spooky, because drivers looks like they are almost next to each other, but it looks like there's some part of difficulties to overtake, right? Debe with the spun under the bridge. I don't know what happened. And this is the first time that I have no idea who am I need to spectate, because there is something happening in the many situations on the track between many drivers.
Yeah, there's a lot of good action going on from what I can see as I've been spectating. Like, you can pretty much pick any point in the field and you're going to see something of a battle, something happening. So right now I've been kind of watching Marios and Maverick as we see Marios there around Maverick through the Casio triangle and able to get through. Maverick gives it up, though, because he's into the pits. Baran is into the pits as well. And that puts Marios at the moment onto P3. Baran and Maverick both pitting in. Baran going onto a fresh set of mediums. Maverick's onto a fresh set of mediums. So they will be back out. They're giving up a lot of position there, but confusing enough at the moment, our top 3 is Graxent, Puhash, and Marios, and those 3 are on hard tires. So I think they will be able to run to the end of the race with no issues if they can just stay clean, stay consistent, and avoid spinning.
Look at that fight between Ignas and Buchek. They are almost wheel to wheel right now. Ignas finally overtakes Buchek, but he don't want to be just like sitting back and just watch the back of the Ignas right now. Buchek is trying to make some moves, and looks like he will be in front of the Ignis. There was a contact. Bucek, from my perspective, was looking like he was drifting. Right now, a little bit door closed, but still a very clean fight. Of course, as much as they can. And to be honest, there is nothing happened between top four right now. They are losing a lot of time between themselves. Graxen, as I mentioned before, we have a flying mode today, 8 seconds in front of the Puchacz. So it looks like Graxen is going for another win. But of course, we still have like 10 laps to go, so anything might happen.
Yeah, buckle your seatbelts, because that is the one thing that's very consistent with FRL, is that just when you think it's over, it's very much far from over. This isn't Max Verstappen and running away with a 30-second win. Things change very, very quickly here in the league and from lap to lap with the race. But as we watch through, as you mentioned, 10 laps to go here. Bumilino Gaucho, Frantic, that's going to be a good battle that shapes up near the end here against Radislav Kepa and against each other, because it is going to be the mediums of Bimolino that start to give way. And speaking of Bimolino, Bimolino spins there going under the tunnel.
And this is safety car?
Yes, safety car has been deployed. All right, let's mix everything up here with 10 to go. Graxit is going to be very, very upset, as he had almost an 11-second lead against Puchacz, and now everyone can come in, fit on some soft tires, and let's have a quick shootout to the end of the race. I know that's not what's going to happen, but I can want it to, right?
Yeah, exactly. And this actually might change everything. Graxen decide to go to the pit lane. We will see how the rest. Puchacz also going to the pit lane. Myros and Radosław. They still have time to make a really good double pit without the double stack. Graxen decide to go for the fresh pair of softs. Puchacz right now also with the mediums. Okay. Baran with 3 seconds time penalty. Myros with mediums, Radosław with mediums, Radek with mediums. So I believe probably all of them will take a fresh pair of mediums. Also, Bemolino is changing a front wing, as I see. Yeah. So also Maverick decided to stay on his pretty fresh medium compound, 2 laps only on them. And John Meister, 4 laps on this pair of parts, but he just came out from the pit lane. So
he put on a used set, from what I can tell.
Yeah,
which is interesting.
And Ignas decided to stay on his 6th lap old medium compound.
Ignis is going to be very, very happy with what just happened, because it might put him back in contention for a points finish. Graxen is going to be very, very upset with where he finds himself right now, because this could cost him the win, depending on how this restart goes.
As far as we can see, that Graxen don't have any sort of issue with the pace, so I believe he will be fighting as a lion just to hold that P1 in this race. But as you mentioned, anything might happen. So every single driver have a chance to stand on the podium. It's also very nice to see Myros on the P3, Maverick on the P4, Radosław Kepa on the P5, Franek and Bemolino on the P6, P7. This also shows that our league is not only fully focused on tracks that a faster drivers might get win every single race, but when it comes to the Suzuka, every single driver have a chance to win and stand on the podium. So that's why I love it. And now Debe, out of nowhere, decided to go to the pit lane we'll see. Probably a fresh pair of softs.
No, they've got mediums in the pit lane for him. It looks like I don't know. I don't understand that decision.
Box, 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 Debe. No, no, stay out, and that's how it ends.
McLaren inheriting the Ferrari strategist for this race, it appears.
I believe that our admin will consider to fire them because of that.
Can't say that wouldn't be a bad decision, but we'll see what he decides here. I think we'll have 7 laps to go whenever we safety car comes in, if it comes in at the end of this lap, and I kind of hope it does. So we'll have 7 laps of racing, Syntax, and it should be a fair, even fight all the way through to the end. I think really any driver in the top 5 has a good chance of winning this right now.
Yeah, I can fully agree with that. So, if we have a moment, what do you think about today's podium in the Barcelona?
In real life, it was kind of. I was more surprised to see who wasn't on the podium. To be honest, I was more surprised to not see Aston Martin a little bit higher up and see Ferrari a little bit higher up.
Yeah.
I knew the upgrades from Mercedes had made a difference, but I wasn't expecting to see them on a double podium. It kind of feels like Mercedes is back to form, but there's still no competing with Max this season, and it really is a wonder if Red Bull will win every race this season or not, because they've won 8 of 23 races this season.
Yeah, it might be boring, but their car is out of this planet. And for the Ferrari, it might be a very disappointed weekend, but not for Gragson, that he is leading right now with an amazing restart after the safety car right now. He gained some time in front of the Puchacz. Bemolino fight between Mak and Franek. Mak jumped in front of the Franek. Right now Baran is also joined to fight. John Meister came out of nowhere. Bucek on the P11. Ignas with the spin. So I have no idea what's going on in this race, but it makes it more tense in the general.
Yeah, this race has been very out of character for everything so far. But as we go through here, lap 20 of 27, 7 to go, and we hit the hairpin here. Gragson 1.1 seconds in the lead here. If he can keep these soft tires going, I think he'll be in a very good spot. Franek trying to fight Baran here. Maku fighting as well in this mix as they come through. And now I'm kind of watching Baran trying to make his way through. John Meister is trying to get past Franek here up the inside through the left-hander. And it looks like John Meister is going to be able to hold on to it here. In for P8. Franek's now down to P9. Baran is P7. But of course, we do have a very, very close group of racers here. Maku is right on the rear wing of Radislav Kepa. He's going to go up the inside here and get this pass done. And Syntax, things are mixing up very, very quickly. And Baran also getting past Radislav Kepa. And John Meister. It's Radislav Kepa losing like 4 places at once there.
Yeah, exactly. He have a really bad exit because of the contact with Maku, and he lost his momentum. So Baran and John Meister definitely take that and jump in front of him. But right now Bucek is fighting with the Tazo. Tazo overtaked Bucek, and looks like Bucek don't have enough power in his engine, because Deba also used that moment and also overtaked him. So yeah, still 6 laps to go. Situation on the track isn't clear at all. Everything is mixing with every second on the track. So expect unexpected, as I'm always saying. And right now Bemolino fly away because he just hit a grass on the left side. and there was no chance to brake properly. And I'm glad that no one is hurt in this situation, but he lost definitely a lot because of that.
Yep, that will find him all the way to the back of the field. I thought he was going to take out more cars with him than what he did when he was coming back onto the track there. I was really, really scared for that. But thankfully, he didn't take out anyone else, it looks like, just himself.
Draxen with the fastest lap of this race, 1 minute 31.6, and DRS is enabled right now. Maku used that to overtake Maverick, and right now he's on the P4. Myros is still holding his P3. Puchat trying to find some pace just to catch out the Draxen, but the time between these two drivers is still rising. Draxen today totally flying mode. Bemolino overtake Bucek because of visiting the pit lane. Vasser exactly the same. Maverick was overtaken by Ignas.
A lot of people there.
Yeah. To be honest, we could like saying from lap to lap, someone is overtaking someone, but this is the only situation that we see on the track right now. There's nothing like the big things, and only the small moves between a few drivers. But the front, like top 5, looks like the situation is calming down at the end of this race.
Yeah, top 5 have really settled in. They're kind of accepting their positions there. John Meister is trying to have a bit of a run on Baran here, but I don't know that he's got enough in the tank to do it. Baran has those soft tires. He just has to make last a few more laps here. But the midfield is really where the battles are at. Hazo to Radislav Kepa. Debe's in the mix for that. Franic's in the mix for that. So the battle for the bottom half of the points is really where we're seeing things heat up here. As we see Tazo, DRS open, trying to have a run on Radislav Kepa, going up the inside here. Into turn 1, he kind of slots in, and there it is. Tazo's now up into P7. Debe might find his way up into P8 here, depending on how things go. He slots back in, so he's not going to have to worry about it. And now he's just going to focus on defending against Franic here through the S-curves and settling down. But 4 laps to go here, and I mean, I would almost argue that Graxit, Puhash, and Marios are going to be our top 3 at this point.
4 laps to go, and looks like our podium is going to settle down quite easily. Myros somewhere found over 2 seconds in front of the Maku, but somehow Maku magically found an amazing pace and trying to catch him out of the podium, but still 4 laps to go. And the closest to the overtake right now is John Meister, that is sitting 0.2 of the second behind the Baran, going to the last corner in the sector 3, and we will see that John Meister will decide to make a move, or maybe he will wait for the DRS. I believe the second option, because it will be so much safer right now. DRS open, and of course he will be try to do everything as he can. And now dangerous move from Baran, but John Meister somehow managed to survive this and also overtake Baran. That was making this move more impressive.
Super impressive driving between John Meister and Baran there. John Meister able to avoid that somehow and not run right into the back of Baran. So very, very good driving from him. Continue to watch this battle back here in the midfield, and Radislav Kepa is now just outside of a second from Tazo. It's starting to close a little bit, but it's not super close as they run underneath the track there, out of the turn. And now we come into the hairpin, and it's still, drivers are very close to each other, but things are, and nobody's doing anything unnecessary here on lap 24 of 27. Wasserschwein picking up a 3-second penalty for, I would imagine that's for exceeding track limits. Maku, this is going to be one to watch. Maku is within half a second here of Marios, and is going to be trying to get a pass done here. as he goes through. You can see Myros is harvesting as they hit the Casio Triangle. And now they're back onto the main straight. So Myros now picking up a 3-second time penalty, which would put Maku on the podium and knock Myros off of it. You can see Myros there just gives up the position as they go down the main straight. And that puts Maku onto our podium.
Exactly, and he was holding this somewhere around the podium by the whole race, and in a beautiful way he fight for it, and he will definitely deserve it after this race. But also John Meister on the P5 right now. We have yellow flag in the sector 1. Maverick is overtaking with Debe. I believe Debe spun out, so that's why he finished on the P12 right now and losing over 4.5 seconds behind Maverick.
Evan has just not had a great race this weekend. It's been very... I'm going to imagine if we ask him, he's going to say he doesn't like this track. That is exactly what I would expect him to say, is that he does not like this track at all. Because it seems like he's been struggling a little bit. Bimolino Gaucho has been struggling a little bit. As we see, Bimolino is off there. Out of the S-curves. So Bimolino is now down in the last place with 2 laps to go here. And as we continue to kind of watch the different battles on the field here, Ignis to Baron, this battle is going to be very, very spicy, because this is going to be one of those championship determining fights here between P7 and P8. As we go into 2 laps to go here, is Baron going to defend extremely hard against Ignis? Does Ignis have anything left in the tank to give? And it's just going to be a matter of who can come out on top, as we see a little bit of tire contact there. But Ignis is going to come through. Baron's going to switch back. Radislav Kepa once in the mix as well. There we go. Ignis with DRS on Baron. And now they're 3 wide into turn 1. They snap through. Little bit of contact there, I believe, but Baron able to hold on to it there against Ignis. Maybe a little bit more contact. John Meister, Maku battling as well. I think Maku might have potentially spun. Yeah, Maku falling off the podium there, and that puts Myros back on the podium. Ignis a little bit laggy here too, I do have to point out, but Ignis able to get past Baron here for P7 and is going to have what should be known as a fairly good recovery drive here for Ignis for how his day has gone. Really, both Mercedes having a good recovery drive.
Yeah, I wanted to mention that because they were on the P13 and P14, and somehow to came back on the P4 is like amazing job. So a big congrats for the John Meister for making such a good job. But this is also a very good information for Myros because he came back on the podium. But still, you can't fill that podium because we have 1 lap to go and you have a John Meister behind you. So that might be a little bit scary, you know, but if everything will works fine, you will hold that.
In Texas, the last lap in the battle for the lead is separated by 0.2 of a second, so hold your breath as we go through this final lap and we get things going here. Pujols pushing very aggressively. He wants that Alfa Romeo on the top step of the podium, the junior team to the Ferrari. Of course, Ferrari powered, but we want to see how this ends up here. 0.3 of a second separating them as they run through the S-curves down into the Dunlop curve. And Syntex, just hold your breath here for a second because this is going to get very, very heated as the drivers go through. And now they go underneath the bridge. Everybody's still together, and it's getting very, very dark. So I think we just missed out on a little bit of rain as well. As we watch here, now the drivers run down through turn 12 out towards Spoon Curve for the final time here, and this is going to be for all the marbles. What can Pujols do to fight back against Graxen as they run down for the final time? And now it's a straight shot here. Both drivers, the red lights on the back of the car is blinking as they're conserving battery as much as they can. And now a little bit of contact potentially as we run down through 130R. We're down into the Casio Triangle for the final time. You can see Pujols trying a switchback side by side as they go down out of the final corner. Graxen's able to hold on to it, and Graxen will bring it across for a win. Plants it in the wall. Pujols comes through P2. Myros will be able to come across P3. He is carrying a 3-second time penalty, though. So John Meister will find himself on the podium. Maku will come across for P5. P5 here. Tazo P6, Ignis P7. Baran will head up in the next group of cars, P8. Of course, he has a penalty here. So Radislav Kepa takes P8. Frantic P9. Maverick actually P9 after penalties. Frantic. Debe will be P11. Baran P12. Wasserschwein is just now coming through the Casio Triangle to finish up our last couple of cars. Nobody's finishing off the lead lap. And Puhash almost had that pass done there at the very end.
So close, but still Draxon somehow managed to hold that an amazing pace until the end of this race and win Suzuka Grand Prix. So that's over. Debe is our driver of the day. Taking into consideration how he was struggling, I will say he fully agree he really deserves for that.
Absolutely. Looking at our podium here, John Meister finding himself on the podium. Graxon, 4th podium this season, but his first win. And then, of course, Puhash up as well. First time on the podium this season, and first time finishing above P5 this season. So, very, very good run from all 3 drivers there. And overall, really, really good race.
Yeah, taking maybe just look about yourself at the chat and what do you think about skipping interviews this week? Because we can clearly see that the situation on the pit lane might be very hot right now.
Yeah, I was just looking at that to see. Yeah, we're gonna
Skip.
Yeah, we might do interviews at a later date, but at the moment, I don't think it's the best option. So I'm going to side with you on that one, Syntax. So yeah, this is going to be where we end our stream, everyone, for this week here. Thank you for tuning in for the Suzuka Grand Prix here, the Japanese Grand Prix. Of course, if you do want to join, check out the Discord. You can do exclamation Discord in the chat. Be sure to subscribe to the YouTube. This video will be going up here in about 2 days. Typically, it premieres on Tuesday, the VOD does. And then, of course, stick around. And next week, we have Portimao. So, on behalf of Syntax, my name is Bradley, and we will see you all in a week's time.
Thank you. Bye.
And it looks like Noda is going to be your winner of this Portuguese Grand Prix. Is your champion. JJ splits the middle, gets past both drivers.